Hello everyone. Today we will start with the second part of linear regression. Before starting, let us look at today's contents. We will have a quick recap of hypothesis and cost function. Then we'll go to gradient descent algorithm. We will look at multivariable linear regression and how feature scaling is important in multivariable linear regression. We'll see polynomial regression as an extension of linear regression. And finally, we will look at normal equation and its pros and cons. In the previous video, we saw the hypothesis function, which is theta I into xi across all the features. It can be also written in the vector form as theta transpose times x, where theta vector is this vector and x vector can be represented as this, which is the first training example, second training example and third training example, all stacked together, where each of these can be represented by this vector. So we get this x in 2D format, where this is x0, x1 of the first training example. This is x0, x1 of the second training example and x0, x1 of third training example. So this is how we form the 2D vector x. And suppose the number of features is n and the number of training examples is n, then this matrix is of size n into m. We have also looked at the cost function, which is this one. Here it is recommended that we follow a vector approach to get the cost function. So how will it look like? So after we get the predicted h of x, it will be something of the form h1 x, then h2 x, and so on. And we also get our y, which will be subtracting. So this is y1, y2, y3, and after this we get a single column vector, and we square each of these terms individually. So square this term, square this term, square this term, and after this we again get a single column vector. And what we do is we sum all these individual elements. This can be done in Python using the np.array function, np.sum function, and after that we divide it by 2m to get this cost function. So a vectorized approach is preferred over the normal for loop. Now let us start with the gradient descent. First we initialize the theta vector randomly, and then we keep on updating theta so as to decrease the cost function, which was our original aim. How do we update theta? We have these formula by which we update the value of theta. Here we notice a new term, which is alpha, which is the learning rate. It is also called hyperparameter because it is determined by us, and we choose it according to our model. Some standard values of alpha are 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, and so on. So let us look what choosing a correct alpha does. If alpha is too small, then the convergence will be slow, and if alpha is too large, then the cost function may not converge. Let us look at this with the help of a graph. This is our cost function, and when we perform gradient descent, we are here, and on first step of gradient descent, when we update theta, we move to maybe somewhere here, and then once again on updating theta we move somewhere here, then we move somewhere here, and after some point we may reach the optimum value of j theta. But if our learning rate, which is alpha, is too small, then what will happen, that these steps would be too small and it would take very much time to reach up till here. On the other hand, if our learning rate is too big, then these steps would be big, and what will happen, that it will cross the minimum value of theta and it may overshoot it, and we may never reach this minimum value of theta. So choosing an optimal value of alpha, which is the learning rate, is very important. So in the formula of gradient descent, we saw that there were two partial derivatives term. We can compute it using calculus, but here I have written out the formula. Once again, for computing this, a vectorized approach is preferred. And when we finally plug into the formula, let us look at the algorithm. So we initialize the vector theta randomly, and then we perform these two steps until we reach a considerable low value of theta. Here I have plugged in the value of the partial derivatives from the formula. Now after we have determined our value theta, how do we predict the output of new data? So we got theta from gradient descent, and then we will use our hypothesis function, which takes the parameter theta 0 and theta 1, and using that we will be able to predict the labels of new values. So we have looked at single variable linear regression. Now we will look at multivariable linear regression. So in single variable we had just one input feature, which was maybe the size of the house. But here we have many features like the size of the house, or the number of rooms, how old the house is, or other features like is the house painted or not, does the house have swimming pool, and so on. If we want to use all these features to predict our price of the house, then we have to use multivariable linear regression. So for applying multivariable, we just change the vectors theta and x, and everything else remains the same. So this is our updated vector x and theta. Notice here that earlier we had this vector only up till here, since we had just one feature, but now we have three features. So we have x1, x2 and x3. Here x1 represents the size of the house, x2 is the number of rooms, and x3 is how old the house is. And since we have three input features, our theta vector will also be updated. So it now goes from theta 0 to till theta 3. After that we'll look at the algorithm. The first step is the same as initializing theta vector randomly, and then we'll perform these steps until we reach a considerably low value of the cost function. The updation of theta 0 was same as the linear regression, and here theta for each input feature we have to update that particular theta. So we have to update theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3. So for theta 1, j would be 1 here, here and here. For theta 2 similarly j would be 2 here, 2 here and 2 here, and similarly for 3. After we have got our vector theta, we can now use the hypothesis function, which is h of theta. We'll input our input features and we'll get our predicted label, which is the price of the house. One important thing which is required while doing multivariable linear regression is feature scaling. Let us look at the formula. For each input feature x, we update it as this, where mu I is the mean and si is the standard deviation. So for example, mu1 we calculate by taking the first feature of all the training example. So the first feature of the first training example, first feature of the second training example, first feature of the third training example, and so on, and find the mean of all these. Similarly for the standard deviation, and then we plug it into the formula and find and update all the values of x. So why do we use feature scaling? Suppose our size of the house is maybe in units of 1000, or sometimes it is in 10,000, but the number of rooms in a house is 1 or maybe 3 or 4. So this creates an imbalance while performing the algorithm, since this is in units digit and these are in the order of 10 raised to power 3 or 10 raised to power 4. So feature scaling brings this all down to the same level, so the algorithm performs better. Next we will look at polynomial regression, which is an extension of linear regression. Suppose our hypothesis function is as follows: theta 0 plus theta 1 x1 plus theta 2 x1 square plus theta 3 x1 cube. So how do we deal with this? It is very simple. We substitute x1 square with x2 and x1 cube as x3. After this, you realize that this hypothesis function has become a problem of multivariable linear regression, and by performing the algorithm of multivariable linear regression, we'll get the parameters theta, and using that we will predict our labels. One important thing to note here is that feature scaling becomes very important, because suppose x1 is 10, then x1 square becomes 100 and x1 cube becomes 1000. So you can see the difference in scale between 10 and 1000, and this will stop the algorithm from performing at a better rate. So it is preferred to use feature scaling. Now we'll look at the normal equation and how it is used to predict the value of theta at one go. So this is the value of theta. We can find it using this formula, where x is our input variables and we have represented it in this form, and xi is the ith training example. We have seen how this x can be represented in a 2D way, which is of size n into m, where n is the number of features and m is the number of training examples. But this is not recommended. At first thought, it seems that this is a just a single line, so why don't we use it rather than gradient descent? That is because here we have to find the inverse of a matrix, and this takes very long time, and sometimes it takes much longer time than the gradient descent. So using gradient descent is always preferred over normal equation. So we have come to this end of the presentation. Let us summarize what we have seen today. We started with quick recap of the hypothesis and cost function. We looked at the gradient descent algorithm. We have also done multivariable linear regression where our number of features are more than one. We have looked at feature scaling and how important it is when considering multivariable linear regression. We have also looked at polynomial regression as an extension of linear regression. And finally, we have looked at normal equation and understood why it should not be used. So with this, we come to the end of linear regression. I hope you have understood. Thank you.